Hey y'all, welcome back to Movement Link. So today I want to talk a little bit about just reflecting on kind of the effort you've been putting in to move your life in the direction you want to move it. In this context, we talk a lot about our efforts in the gym, but this can also mean those efforts outside of the gym, those lifestyle things that are pushing you towards performance, aesthetics, tissue and joint health, and then overall health and wellness. So if it's weight loss, if it's feeling better, if it's being happier, all of these things, we need to balance what we're doing outside of the gym with inside the gym, and we need to reflect on the direction we're going, and we just need to check in because things change over time, so we want to double check that what you're doing is actually in line with how you feel in this moment. So let's kind of run through the checklist here on things that I recommend you check in on. So first thing you should do is every once in a while, so this can be every like 3 months, 90 days is usually a good amount of time, but this can also be at the end in the gym we go through macro cycles. So this could be after each macro cycle. Take a second, so this will give you, 3-4 times a year. Take a few minutes and look back and review what your purpose is. So why are you working out? Why are you eating the way you're doing? Why are you prioritizing sleep? What are you doing to keep improving and keep yourself growing? So review your purpose. So for me personally, I work out to maintain just a level of physical activity and health, to be pain-free and to not be limited by my functionality in everyday life. So my goal is not to become a world-class CrossFit athlete. And what happened is a long time ago, I was kind of working out in a way that would push me that direction, but that was never my goal. So what I ended up doing is I had a lot more nagging injuries. I would get out of bed feeling just crickety. It was taking up a lot of time in my life, and it wasn't until I reviewed my purpose. Why am I in the gym? Why am I doing these things? That really had helped me get on track and focus all of my efforts. And the reality is that I'm in better shape. I feel better. I'm happier. I've got a more balanced life than I ever have because of that. So step one is just review your purpose. Let's figure out why you're doing the things you're doing and why you're going to put the efforts into it. Is it weight loss? Is it how you look? Is it how you perform? Is it how you feel? Is it a health condition? Whatever it is, let's figure out why you're going to put this effort in there. Then let's review your progress. So if you have some old goals, you can use those, or even if you don't have old goals, you can kind of use this to be like, what are you not happy with? And you can make a list of things you're just not happy with in your life, and that'll kind of help us figure out what things do we need to tweak and what areas are worth putting effort into that'll push you towards your purpose here. So the other thing is, if you have previous goals, we want to look at, are those previous goals still in line with your purpose? So over time, you might evolve, you might grow as a human being, and your purpose might change over time. And as that purpose change, some of your old goals, like wanting to back squat this amount or run this far or do this thing, some of these things might change a little bit. They might be more aggressive performance wise, they might be less aggressive, they might turn into more of how you look, they might turn into more of just how you feel on a daily basis. But we need to make sure that whatever we're going after is in line with that purpose. Then what you want to do is take an honest look at yourself. It's so easy to get real frustrated. You got to take an honest look at yourself, and as you're reviewing your progress, did the effort that you put into these things reflect what your original plan was? And if this is your first time going through kind of a review, that's something just to kind of keep in mind later, is that we want to be able to implement consistent efforts day in, day out, week in, week out. That way we can actually know if what we're doing is pushing us in the right direction. If it's just sporadic and it's like throwing spaghetti against the wall, then we might get to the point where we're not happy with our progress, but we haven't really learned anything. And a lot of people get real frustrated with a program, or they get real frustrated with something, but really they need to take a step back, look in the mirror first, and really be honest with themselves. Did they actually put the effort in that it's going to take to get there? There's a lot of just things that we have to accept, the realities of life, and a lot of people like to just dip their toes in, and they're like, okay, well, maybe if I change this just a little bit, I can keep what I think my life should be just as it is. and then hope I make the progress. But the reality is, it's hard to imagine what your life is going to be like once we've changed all of these things. And a lot of people are so worried about the unknown, they're scared about change, that they resist. And really, you just have to dive in, because you can't get the perspective on what it's like to live with all of these healthy habits and strategies and consistently putting the effort in until you've tried it. And honestly, it sounds like it's a lot of work. Usually it just takes going through something like our Momentum program to teach people that it's actually less work and less worrying, and you got less problems in your life than where you are before. So always take that step of, as you're reviewing your goals, before you change your strategies, you got to look at, did you actually put the effort into your strategies to find out if those strategies actually work or not? And maybe those strategies aren't working and we need to pivot, which that happens sometimes, but maybe it's just you need to commit to those strategies a little bit more. So then what I like to have people do is remember, especially on this channel, we're trying to balance performance, aesthetics, tissue and joint health, and overall health and wellness. So it's not just about if we're looking at your goals and you only have these performance goals. So I like to just kind of review and just kind of have you ask yourself the question, are you happy with your performance? Are you happy with your aesthetics? Are you happy with how your joints feel on a daily basis when you're getting out of bed? All of these things. And are you happy with your overall health and wellness? And then you can use those to kind of reflect back, and maybe we need to tweak what our goals actually are. So we're making sure that we're getting things that encompass everything, because, for example, if we put all of our goals on performance things, then we might really go down that path and hammer that hard, and we might just forget about all of these other things that we really do care about a lot. So then, after we've kind of thought about all of these things, we start writing down new goals. The place I like to start when I'm looking at new goals is I like to think, like, what would be cool? What would I like to see happen? And then I get more and more specific, and I define them with a time frame. I define them with, instead of just get stronger, it's like, what are some ways I can test if I've gotten stronger? That way I can kind of formulate my thinking and my plans along that way. And then it's just coming up with the efforts and strategies and habits and the techniques needed to drive yourself in that direction. So remember, we always have to keep in mind that it should all be within the framework of your purpose, and then the bigger picture of what you want your life to be like. And then within that, we're going to pick goals, and then we're going to start talking about the efforts and strategies. So this is where your coach comes into play, because hopefully they have the experience and the expertise to let you know exactly what it's going to take to get the things done that you're saying you want to get the things done. Then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of cycle through this a few times as we have back and forths. So say you yourself come up with, I want to back squat 400 pounds. A very cool goal. But then once we start talking about the efforts and everything it's going to take to get there, we're not trying to convince you out of it. We're just trying to give you the realistic picture of, if this is what you want, these are the things you're going to have to do consistently to get there. And then it's up to you to decide, does this fit in with your purpose? If it does, awesome. Then we've got the efforts and strategies we need to move forward. And if it doesn't, maybe we can tweak it a little bit, maybe be a little less aggressive, or maybe say that is the goal, but let's push out the time frame a little bit, making the shorter goal getting up to 315, something like that. So really, every now and then we need to come back, review what you're doing, if it's in the gym, if it's how you're eating, if it's how you're sleeping, if it's how you're managing your stress levels, if it's in your career, if it's just in you growing as a person. We need to review what you're doing, and we want to review where you want to go, and then we can help you kind of line up everything and get you moving in the right direction. But without taking those extra steps, most people just go to the goals and they write goals down. I want to be able to do this. And they forget that our goals need to be big picture, and it all needs to be within your purpose. So if If you've got any questions about this, post it in the comments, shoot us an email, anything like that. Our Momentum program is designed specifically to help people through this, to really get these things defined, and then to provide the accountability and the coaching required and needed to assist people along their journey as we make tweaks and customizations for them along the way. If you've got any questions about any of that, let me know. Enjoy. Talk to y'all soon.